Hey friends, this is just a little quick in-between update kind of video. I do have a small thrift haul, but I wanted to take time to just tell you all the things that happened yesterday. This is just going to be mostly a vlog. Let me just tell you some things, because even I can't believe all the crazy. Okay, so She Shed is happening. And okay, now I have Olivia's dogs in here with me. Coco. Okay, just ignore it. Sorry. She Shed is happening, and Ben yesterday, day before yesterday, just out of the blue says, I wonder, he said, I want to put a sink, a utility sink in the shed. He said, we can just, hook a water hose line. We got some water hose accessibility out there. We'll just hook up a water hose line to it with a little separate shut off and on valve so that we won't have to worry about it freezing. We'll put a utility sink in there. That way you can wash your paintbrushes, and, if you had a coffee maker out there, you can make coffee, or, he said, in the event that I wanted to soak some of my kayak gear, that's a thing. If you don't have kayakers in your family, that's a thing. Some rivers have a lot of algae and things like that in it, and you have to soak your life jacket and your special little kayak and shoes and all the things. You have to soak that off, or it gets river stank. And that's a thing. That's not a good thing either. That's bad. So anyway, he has this idea, and it just blows me away. I said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. He said, you want to start looking for a sink? I was thinking, I'll look for a sink, all right. Because I knew already in my mind what I wanted. So I searched Facebook Marketplace. Sure enough, someone in Alabama had what I was looking for. It is, let me insert a picture here of this double wash tub, antique, gorgeous thing. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't believe I found it. I can't believe somebody in my state had it. But it was a good way away. Clanton is a full 2 hours, a little over 2 hours in one direction. Maybe closer to 3. I really didn't add up all the time that it took, and I need to go back and look at my GPS and all that. So I contacted this lady, and she said, the first thing I asked after she said it had not yet sold, it was still available, I said, listen, I'm looking for something to use as an actual sink. It's going to be very important. Does it leak? Does it have holes? Has it rusted through? I see rust on it, but has it rusted through? Is it still sturdy? Could it hold the weight of water in these basins? Oh, it's in great shape. It's really good. No holes, no leaks. I said, okay, because we live really far away, and I need to know for sure. I need to know for sure before I come to pick it up, I said, could you please send me some photos of the underside of it? Well, she said she would, and then the next day came, and she hadn't sent the pictures yet, but in good faith and believing that people are better than they actually are, I just carried on. I said, okay, I just double checking with you to make sure we're all set for me to come pick it up before I drive this distance, because you understand, I'm just below Huntsville and you're down below Birmingham. That's a long way. And she's like, yeah, all good, everything's great. So what time shall we meet? Oh, anytime. Okay, on the day of, after I had already asked her several times, what time should I come? Any time is good. Any time is fine. On the day of, she says, can you make it between 12 and 1? That's my lunch hour. I'm like, girl, what do you think it means when I'm asking you what time are you available? If you say any time, that means to me that you either don't work an office job with hours that tie you down or something. So I was like, okay, I'll have to really hurry, but I'll do my best to make it between 12 and 1. And I missed it. It was about 10 after 1, but there's more. Hold on. Take a break. Okay, that was Ben's mom. Ben has gone to the doctor to take his dad to a regular appointment, and she thought she was dialing him, and she got me instead. Okay, so I said, I think I can do it, but it's really going to push me. And I'm thinking to myself, this was the first red flag. I was like, you hate to just think somebody, are you dumb? I mean, because I do a lot of dumb stuff myself, and I'm very distracted a lot, and there's a lot going on. So, I'm just still operating in grace here. I'm like, okay, well, maybe she just missed reading that part when I asked her what time is better for you. And I asked her twice, and both times she says, anytime. Okay, so that was not a deal breaker at all. Okay, so as it turns out, my little sweet precious mama was available to do a little road trip with me. So it was, her house was on the way to the destination. So I just swung by her house and I picked her up. Okay, yesterday was absolute horrible weather in Alabama. I mean, raining cats and dogs, just terrible. Not a good day for a road trip, but you know how these things are. If you find something you really like, and they're very hard to find, if you ask a seller, can you just hold it a few days or whatever, they'll sell it out from under you. I've had that happen many times to me. People are not nice. Not every people are nice. I know all of you are nice, and you would not do this. But I just have to tell you how this all unfolded, because I think you're going to be absolutely insulted for me, because I was insulted. Okay, so we get about half an hour from Clanton, from the town that I'm going to meet her, at a gas station right off the interstate, a public place, because I already told you, I don't like front door pickup. I don't want to be murdered. Okay, so she messages me 30 minutes and says, hey, I just got it from storage, and I can see that the rust did rust all the way through in a few places. Just wanted to let you know. Okay, so I have to get off the interstate, and I pull over into a little restaurant parking lot so I can reply, because I'm having my mother read this off my phone. My mother, who does not do cell phone, much less smartphone or anything, so I couldn't just tell her what to type in. That would have been, she couldn't have done that. So I get off the interstate, and I say, do you remember that the first thing I asked you was, does it leak? She said, yeah, but it's been in storage. I said, yeah, but your photos don't show any leaks. And I asked you, and you gave me the answer, no holes, no leaks. I said, nevertheless, I want to see it in person before I make my decision. She said, yeah, I just wanted you to know what you'd be getting. And the first thing I was thinking to myself was, be getting? You're assuming a lot, girl. Be getting? Okay, and this is another thing. She had it listed for $200, and in great condition. That's less than what a brand new sink would have cost. That's more modern, stainless steel, that kind of thing, for a double sink, double deep utility sink. So I was still good with it, with $200. I did ask her, I said, since I have to drive such a distance, would you take $150? And she says, nope, I paid $250, so I've got to have $200 out of it. And I just said, okay, I just like, all right, fine. But I'm a haggler. I feel like when you list something, you give wiggle room, just a little bit of negotiation room, Anyway, let me give you a hint. If you don't know this and you list something, list it just a little tiny bit higher than what you have to have, because it makes the buyer feel like they're getting a deal. If you come down $10 or $15, it makes the buyer feel better about it. It makes the buyer feel like they're getting a good deal. I mean, that's what I do when I list things. I list it just a little bit higher so that we can have some negotiation, and when it comes down, I'm still getting what I wanted to get out of it. Okay, evidently this girl didn't know that. So we get there, and it's in the back of her vehicle, and I pulled under where the gas pumps are because it's pouring rain. And she pulled in right behind me, and that way we wouldn't get soaked while I'm looking at it. So I'm already, in my mind, I'm thinking it's going to be a small chance of me actually buying this, because it's not going to serve the purpose, So here we have driven all that distance, and we'll have to drive all the way back home. But I'm looking at it, and she's just real, whatever, So she looks at it and she says, yeah, here it is. And I looked it over, and I looked inside, and I could see the rust holes. I pressed around on it. It's bending, it's giving, it's pushing. As I was touching one of the holes, another chunk the size of a pinto bean came falling out. And I just looked at her. I said, I'm really disappointed. Super disappointed. And, you know, I'm not a mean person. I try to be nice to everyone. But this was exceptionally rude to me, that she allowed me to come all this way, and it was no big deal to her. She didn't care. So I was looking at it, and she's just standing there like, whatever. You know, she's a young girl. She's about, I don't know, maybe late 20s, around 30. I don't know. So I looked at it and I said, well, this is not going to be able to be used for the purpose I drove down here to get it for. You know, I said, do you remember? And I had already said this in the messaging, but I wanted to say it face to face to her because I needed her to comprehend. I needed her to comprehend. I said, do you remember the very first thing I asked you when you said it had not yet sold, it was still available? The first thing I said was, does it leak? Are there any holes? Has it rusted all the way through anywhere on this thing? Because I want to use it as a sink. And you told me it was in great shape, no holes, no leaks. I said, do you recall that that's the answer you gave me? The older I get, the bolder I get. But you know, I had driven in bad weather. We actually saw 2 wrecks happen in front of us, 2 different times on the interstate, because people were driving like idiots, going probably 80 miles an hour, and they hydroplaned, spun around, ending up on the side of the road, hitting other cars. So all that had got me sort of keyed up to the point where I'm not taking much nonsense. I'm not going to hear any nonsense from anybody. So I asked, I said, do you remember? She said, yeah, but you know, it was in storage and I couldn't see it. And I said, you know, but you listed it as a certain thing, and then you answered my specific question in a certain way. It's on you to represent that correctly, especially since I had such a distance to drive, which I told you repeatedly that it needed to be exactly as you described because I'm coming such a long way. She goes, yeah. She didn't care. So I said, well, you know what? I would give you, now mind you, the price that I had said I would pay is $200. So I said, I might give you $50 for it, for just the decorative value of it, because it could be used as, you know, like a sideboard or a storage thing or whatever. She said, yeah, I kept my quilts and stuff in it. But when I said I would pay you $50 for it because I drove all this way and it does have decorative value. And she said, oh, I can't take 50. I can't take 50. And I said, well, I guess we're done here. But before I stepped away, I said, would you like to buy my gas? Gas is pretty expensive, and this was a very long way. You want to buy my gas for coming down here? I knew she wouldn't. But I just needed her to understand, oh, this lady spent money on gasoline to come all the way down here, and then she's going to have to go all the way back home. And she's kind of standing there, and she said, oh, no, I can't do that. I'm a single mother of 2 kids. I'm sitting here thinking, you got a really nice car here, and this is all your fault. And if I had misled somebody, if it had been an unintentional thing, I probably would have just given them the item. I would have felt so hacked and so upset that they had driven all that way at their expense and in dangerous weather, pouring down rain. I would have just given it to him. But she says, oh, no, I can't do that. And I just said, okay, guess I'm done. So I'm walking back to my vehicle, and I realize my mama's not coming with me. And I look behind her, and my sweet little, very genteel, lovely little mama is talking to her. And I'm looking at mama like, what are you doing? And finally, mother comes on, and she said, I asked her what was the least that she would take for it now that we're down here. And the girl said, well, I guess I would take $100, but I don't think your daughter will go for that. I said, oh, she's right. I won't go for that. So, you know, I'm just insulted to the deepest level with this girl. Insulted. And I'm trying to look up. We're still at the gas station. She leaves and I'm still at the gas station. I'm looking up the listing. I did pull away from the pump because I didn't need to get gas. I just wanted to be under the canopy so we wouldn't get rained on. So I pulled away. I'm looking up. She has immediately removed the listing so that I don't have an opportunity to leave a review or a rating of stars or anything. And I wasn't going to dog the girl, but I was sure and certainly going to make it known that this is how she handles her business. And I was just going to say the facts, because the facts on their own were bad enough that anybody that took the time to check a review, they would see that. But she removed the listing, so I had no discourse. I had no way to do that. And that made me mad. And I was just like, okay. And I looked at my mama and I said, I got to spend 6 hours with you today, which is amazing. You know, this is good. I said, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to see what kind of thrift stores are in this town. And we're going to visit a thrift store and we're going to eat a good meal. So we're going to have a nice, good meal. So we did. So we went to one thrift store that was huge. It was like an old school building, and it was full. So we went through that whole thing, and I came out with 2 or 3 little things. Mama came out with a real pretty bowl. I didn't take one picture of my precious mama and us thrifting or anything. I'm telling you, my mind was blown that there are people walking among us that are so selfish. That girl acted like I had wasted 5 minutes and 5 cents. She didn't care. And that I shouldn't be shocked that there are people in this world who don't care, but she didn't care. And I was just like giving her every opportunity to express, you know, gee, I messed up. I'm so sorry. She did in the text or the messenger responses back and forth. One time she'd say, sorry you made the drive. And that was before I actually got there. And I said, oh, I'm coming. I want to see it in person before I make my decision. Even I knew that I probably wouldn't be buying it, but even just so I could make eye contact with this girl and allow her to feel the pain of what she did to me, completely nonchalant, didn't care. I did not tell her I have a YouTube channel, so she's not going to know that I am. And I'm not giving a name. I'm not even going to show any screenshots of the conversation or anything like that. I will show screenshots of the item, and I guess I already have at this point. So my mother and I had a few things that we found, and I'm going to share those with you right quick, right now, because it was a good, and we ate at a restaurant in Clanton called the Neighborhood Grill, and it might have been one of the best meals I've ever had. We ordered, it was when we got there, it was probably 2 or 3 o'clock, and they still had lunch menu going, and we ordered a petite steak, and I had sweet potato mash for one of my sides and broccoli for one of my sides, and excellent. I don't know what they did to that broccoli, but it almost tasted like it had a little citrus zing to it. That was the best steamed broccoli I have ever had anywhere. And the steak was really good. And yeah, while I was eating the steak, one of my crowns broke off and I lost a tooth. That was just one more thing that happened on this day. Okay, so yeah, so I can't, if I have forgotten and accidentally smiled big, I didn't mean to, because I've got a big gaping missing tooth, one of my first molars, the little bitty molar, the smallest one. Okay, so now I'm snaggle-toothed over here. Y'all, what a day. Okay, but Mother found a Homer Laughlin floral bowl, and I have one that's a little bit smaller than the one she found. She paid $8 for it. It was worth way more than that. It was a good deal. Let's see, the first things that I actually got this in Gunnersville, but I haven't shown it to you yet. This was with another box that was a cigar box. So I think that's probably what this is. I did pay $5 whole for it because I just thought it was really pretty, and it's got lots of good potential for flipping and making cute. So that, and this that I don't think is old, but I intend to use it as an actual paintbrush. I think it's a cooking, basting kind of brush, but I'll use it. I paid $1 because it's really like it almost could be a stenciling kind of. I mean, I think it's sturdy enough to do that with. And $1 for this little citrus juicer, lemon or orange or lime or grapefruit or I guess anything. But I love that little shape, and I do have one similar, but I love collecting wooden kitchen utensils, especially if they're older. Not sure if this is older, but it sure is pretty. Okay, so that was in Guntersville at the Home Place thrift store before we went to Clanton. And here's what I came away with from Clanton. Okay, let me see. 50 cents, 59 cents for, it's safety pins, but they're the old-timey, really thick, heavy ones. If you buy safety pins at the Dollar Tree or somewhere like that these days, they are so wimpy. They're so thin, they just bend, and they're only for the very lightest of use. But these are sturdy. These are heavy, and they're not rusted or anything. They're just really good quality. So that was worth 59 cents. This, I paid, what did I pay? Oh, Marla, with your glasses, 39 cents. Okay, now let me tell you something about my vintage wooden spoon collection. I like them that are dark from actually being used for cooking. I love that dark patina on it. Look, in the anxiety of my life, I've lost the polish off that nail. I peeled it right off. But look, do you notice this? Look at the angle. Can you see? Can you tell? This has been used by a right-handed person to stir for years and years and years. It's angled. It's worn off in the direction that a right-handed person would have used it. And I don't know that I have any other utensil that has that shape, that detail. So for 39 cents, this was exciting, and I loved the idea of adding that to my collection. That came from the thrift store in Clanton. They had a basket of pet blankets, all different prices, and this one was marked $2. And just let me show you what this is that was in the pet blanket. It's an actual quilt made of feed sacks. It is small. It looks like the size of a crib to me. It's completely white on one side and completely this pattern on the other side. And it does have holes. It's got some stains, but it does have that really great binding blue stripe. And I can see the actual cotton batting, not polyester, but cotton batting from many, many years ago. I mean, I'm thinking this is pre-1950s. It would have to be. It's so old. But yeah, pets won't be on this. $2. I knew that folded up in a way that would display the prettiest features, and I'm not even offended if it shows a hole with some of that cotton batting coming out, because that just looks so authentic and vintage and wonderful to me. So that was an exciting find. I just had a feeling I should look at, you know, if you don't check the baskets that say pet blankets, you're missing out, because they'll put stuff in there that might have a stain on it or a tear. But even if it's stuff that you use just to use the good part of it to maybe upholster a chair, the seat of a chair, or, you know, make a tote bag out of it, there's good stuff in the pet blanket baskets. Okay, and this thing was $6.99. It's big. Okay, can you tell how big it is? And can you read what it says? Vine ripened. My mother thinks, I said, vine ripened, is that tomatoes? She thinks it's an orange crate, and it is exceedingly old, with old nails, the old kind of rusty nails. And that's just fabulous to me. Okay, another phone call, because we've got about 7-11 things happening at once. But anyway, I think this is a really good size. I like that wire detail. It actually goes across the top. I mean, it wouldn't have to, but I think somebody just added that wire to actually keep it from falling apart. I paid, first they told me it was $4.99, but then she said, oh, no, I see the tag here that says $6.99. And I said, okay, I'll still do it. So, I mean, at that point, I knew that I wasn't coming to Clanton for nothing, and I was coming away with something I liked, and I do like this a lot. I mean, there was tons of more things I could have bought in that place, But, you know, I was just of a certain mindset of, you know, I know we're about to have to move my house upside down. So if I don't know an exact utilitarian functional use for something, or, you know, I passed up several things that would have been good craft project things to do, but I just resisted because it was the kind of things that I could probably find in my thrift stores. I have great thrift stores in my area. So I did skip those things, and we did come on home. And when I got home, somebody, now you don't know this, there's no way you could know how particular Ben is about the grass in our yard. When we moved here, there were all kind of bald, in 1999 we moved here, bald spots where it was literally just hard-packed dirt and dust and, you know, pine trees and everything. Ben hand-placed sprigs of St. Augustine grass all over our yard. And it is tough grass and it is good grass, but we try to respect it because he took one sprig at a time. His daddy has St. Augustine grass in his yard, and we also went and a couple of different times went to Birmingham and bought sod squares of St. Augustine and broke it apart and used it. He what is the word? Sprigged. He has a sprigging hammer. He takes that little hammer and he whacks it in the ground and pulls the ground open to where there's just like a you know, an opening like this. And he sticks that down in there, closes it up, and kind of taps it a little bit to secure it. And he's done that all over our front yard. 2 acres worth of lots and lots of work. Got home last night. Somebody, nobody in our family did it because they know better. And he asked, somebody came up in our driveway. We have no idea. Came up in our driveway and drove through our yard. There's 30-foot ruts deep down to the mud. They like spun out. They got stuck in our yard and ripped up grass. So now we've got it sunk down probably that deep from the level and dug up. It just looks like muddy stripes. Okay, so that was insulting as all get out. Like, who did this? You know, we live very close to a public area, and all we can figure is somebody got in our driveway, and at the end of our block is a school that is, you can't just drive through there during school pickup and drop off hours. They have it blocked off. So we live near enough that we feel like somebody probably saw that they couldn't go on through the 4-way stop down there because the crossing guard has the traffic blocked off. So they might have been a little irritated, or I don't know what, but they turned around in our yard and dug up the biggest trenches. Okay, so the girl did me wrong on the sink. I had a crown fall out, and I'm snaggle-toothed over here on this side. I'm going to immediately have to go get that fixed because I'm not public worthy. I'm trying not to show that side of my face, but I'm forgetting. So you're probably catching glimpses of my missing tooth. And then somebody dug it up. So this is what's going on in my life and in my world. Yet God is good. And when I looked last night, when everything settled down, oh, the other thing that happened, Olivia and Ryan ended up, they had to take a small trip with their church. They are youth counselors at their church. And through 2 or 3 series of unfortunate events, we ended up with their dogs. They have a beagle and a little rescue dog that is, I don't know what he is. Coco, what are you? Trouble. So when Ryan's mother and daddy, Sandy and Buzz, y'all are precious, we love you. They went to live in Ryan's house, got the dogs, brought them to us. And when the dogs got, loose in my house, the cat, Tom Tom, had come up in my house, and they jumped on Tom Tom, and now we can't find Tom Tom. He's injured. We don't know where he is. We don't know if he's alive. I don't know. But that was upsetting. I was like, what else can happen? I don't want to know what else can happen on this day. Crazy. So, bad deal in Clanton on the Facebook Marketplace. Tooth fell out. Somebody mired up in our yard and made terrible marks in our grass. And then my precious little Tom Tom cat got attacked. He was doing nothing wrong. Livy and Ryan's little dogs just are not used to the cat. And the cat did walk into the house, and they just went nuts. They just pinned him down. We don't know how injured he is. We don't know. It was a big flurry of fur. We don't know what was happening. So anyway, I say all that, but yet God is good. And when I got settled down very late last night, I did look on Facebook Marketplace again. And of all things, if I did not find another double wash basin, and I'm talking to the girl now, we haven't gone to see it yet. I don't know if we'll buy it or not, but she says she has already sealed it with Flex Seal on the inside so that it is waterproof. She said she had been using it with for parties and events. She would put ice and drinks like bottled water and Cokes and stuff like that in it. But it's not rusted through anywhere. It actually looks great, in better shape. And she's in Scottsboro, which is like less than an hour from where we live, where I'm sitting right now, less than 1 hour. And I guess it didn't come up in my initial search, or I would have gone to get that one instead. It didn't come up because I don't think it was typed out exactly the same as what my search was typed out. And you know, that's why you, when you're searching for something diligently, type it in 3 or 4 different ways. You know, just type it in all kinds of ways, because people are individuals and they will describe something differently than what you think. So, okay, so it's Friday and Ben is off today, and when he gets back from taking his dad to the doctor, we're going to get busy and start working on the shed. We had an 80-mile-per-hour wind. Well, it was clocked at 60 miles per hour when it hit Albertville, and we don't have damage. But my pop-up camper was open. Ben's brother called from North Alabama, way north, Madison area, and said it just hit us, and it blew part of my fence down, and trees are down, power's out. You know, watch out, here it comes, coming to you next. So we had 30 minutes to bring my pop-up camper down to its closed up position, because I had it open because for months, you shouldn't do that with a pop-up camper, you really shouldn't. But the girls, my baby girls, had been playing in it, and I just kind of enjoy going out there every now and then, and we hadn't had real severe weather. So this morning, with a 30-minute window to do it in, we're out there flying, closing up the camper. We're securing lawn furniture and our deck chair cushions and all the stuff. So we're about to get to work on the shed, and I'll do that too. But I just felt like I needed to share all the things that have happened. But God is good, and I think I'm going to end up with a better vintage sink than I would have if I had ended up with the one in Clanton, if it hadn't had rust going all the way through it and all that. This one, and nobody says I had to have a vintage sink. I just want, that's just a want. That was just a want. Nothing was required. Nothing had to be done that I did. But that girl should have been forthright. She should have been nicer about that. And she wasn't rude, she was flippant. She was like, oh well, who cares? Sorry. I was like, whoa. Okay. But please be aware, in your dealings, that you need to be, as the seller, you need to be overly kind, overly gracious to people, because they're going out of their way to come and purchase and give you money for the thing you're advertising. And there is a responsibility on a seller to do the right thing. So there we go. I'm excited to do what I can, and our baby shower is actually coming up. Not in a couple of days on Sunday, but next Sunday, March 12th, is our shower. So I got to get stuff done for that. I'm still packing things up in my house to do a major shift of rooms in my home. And several of you said, thank you. Several of you said you would be praying for my strength and my sanity throughout all this, because this will challenge me. This will test to see if I do have fruit of the Spirit or not. And I hope I pass the test. Thank you. Love you. God's blessings on all of you.